Cyberpunks. I'm your host, Brenden Lupus Daemon Sandifer, and welcome to our Cyberpunk podcast where we discuss various cyberpunk media. With me today we have Barry. We got Greg.
Hello.
Grim.
Hello.
And Sami.
Hello.
So today we are covering the movie The Running Man. Will this 1987 film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Richard Dawson achieve cyberpunk status? Well, it just might. Let's find out. By 2017, the United States has become a totalitarian police state, following a worldwide economic collapse in the recent election. The government pacifies the populace through violent TV shows, its most popular being The Running Man, a game show where criminals flee from armed mercenaries for a government pardon. Ben Richards is framed for a massacre during a food riot. He's put in a labor camp, which he escapes from 18 months later with two resistance fighters, Harold Weiss and William Laughlin. The group wants to hijack the ICS broadcast uplink to expose the government's lies. Richard declines to help, then heads to his brother's apartment. He takes Amber Mendez, a composer living in that apartment, hostage, but is arrested at the airport. He then meets Damon Killian, the charismatic but ruthless host of The Running Man. Killian gets Richards to participate in the show. He then sends Richards, accompanied by William and Harold, into the game show arena. They're attacked by Professor Sub-Zero, but Richards garrotes him with a piece of razor wire fencing, making it the first time a stalker has died on the show. Mendez is caught and sent into the game zone. The four runners, Mendez, Richard, Weiss, and Laughlin, search for the uplink while Killian deploys Buzzsaw and Dynamo to kill them. Weiss and Laughlin find the uplink station and Mendez memorizes the access codes. Buzzsaw mortally wounds Laughlin, but Richards bisects Buzzsaw with his own chainsaw. Dynamo electrocutes Weiss, but is incapacitated by Richards. Off the air, Killian offers Richards a position as a stalker, which the enraged Richards refuses. Hunted down by Fireball, Mendez finds the corpses of the show's alleged past winners, revealing that the show's promise of pardon are all false. Richards rescues Mendez and kills Fireball, setting him alight with a road flare. While the viewership is now cheering for Richards, Killian asks former stalker Captain Freedom to fight. Using the access codes, the Resistance storms the ICS control room and broadcasts the original footage of the Bakersfield massacre and the deceased runners to expose Killian and the government's lies. As the Resistance fighters battle ICS security forces, a gun battle triggers the building's sprinkler system, which electrocutes Dynamo. Richards forces Killian into a rocket-powered sled, sending him flying into the game zone and fatally crashing through a billboard. Richards and Mendez depart the studio as the broadcasting network goes down. Roll credits. So, that was our movie. I'm going to get into some fun facts, and then we can find out if this is cyberpunk. When Rob Cohen purchased the rights to the Richard Bachman novel The Running Man, he had no idea that Bachman was actually a pseudonym for Stephen King. Many people who worked with Richard Dawson on the game show Family Feud said that in real life, Dawson was more like his character Damon Killian in his handling of underlings. Although credited as simply Sub-Zero, the character is introduced as Professor Sub-Zero by announcer Phil Hilton. Professor Sub-Zero is played by Professor Toru Tanaka. It is worth noting that Tanaka's title of professor is not from a postdoctorate academic rank, but rather from the wrestling name the actor went under in his wrestling career from the 60s through the 80s. This film inspired TV's American Gladiators, as well as the plot and settings of the Williams arcade game Smash TV. Although Arnold Schwarzenegger hates Richard Dawson on screen, in real life they were lifelong friends. It's hinted that Mick Fleetwood plays himself in the movie. In the film, the resistance leader's name is Mick, and he is British. And when Mick meets Richards to remove his explosive collar from around his neck, he says to him, "You're one of the cops who locked up all my friends, burned my songs." The Running Man game show seen on the film was based upon an early 80s Japanese game show called Trans-American Ultra Quiz, in which contestants were tortured in various ways. The prize went to whichever contestant could stand the pain or humiliation the longest. Mike's Star Trek reference gag was Mick Fleetwood's idea, as he was a huge fan of the original's 60s series. However, 2 years after this film was released, Fleetwood got to achieve a lifetime ambition by having a cameo in Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 2 episode Manhunt. So, those were my fun facts. I'm going to go ahead and open our discussion on the core tenets and everything.
Actually, something I was a little confused on, because as you described the movie, it didn't sound like the movie I thought it was. I think I was thinking of a different movie. What was the movie where there's the ruby and the palm, and when they turn 30 it flashes? Was that Running Day?
That's Logan's Run.
That's Logan's Run. Okay. Wrong movie.
Not this one.
Either way, I was thinking of the wrong movie, but I don't think I've seen this one then.
In fact, haven't we already covered Logan's Run?
I don't remember.
Grim says we have.
I mean, it's we got a record.
I know Randy's brought it up. I can't remember. I know Randy's brought it up a couple of times.
Graham, you're muted. Okay, you know.
But yeah, I waited till you were done with the synopsis to ask that, because I was just confused. I was a little confused.
To answer the question, we have not actually covered Logan's Run.
Which is something we should remedy one day.
Yes, we will cover Logan's Run in an upcoming episode, so stay tuned. But for today, let's look at our Cyberpunk checklist.
Yes.
Alright, our core tenets. Dystopian future or alternate present? Check. Present implants or cyberware? Not that I could remember. Greg, am I wrong on that one?
They didn't really have cyberware. Everything costume-wise that the stalkers would wear were just like additional add-ons and weaponry that was attached to them.
Yeah, they didn't really have implants.
I was going to say, I thought I saw one thing that could have been technically cyberware, but it was clearly a helmet.
Okay. So I'm going to mark down no.
Right.
Make a corporate villain with no morals.
Yeah.
The police force.
That's government, but...
I was thinking Killian.
Yeah, but he was just an agent of the government.
True say. But we've counted government before, so I'm just saying yes. One class difference. Yeah, you got that.
Yeah.
Society on the verge of breakdown or outright revolution. Yeah, you got that.
Yes.
Ecological or environmental damage to the extreme.
Yeah, because at least what we've seen of it, there was a lot of wasteland.
Alright. I'm putting down a yes. Cyberspace.
No.
No.
Gritty. I'd say so.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence.
No.
Big Brother is watching you.
Yes.
High-tech society. Yeah.
No, not really.
Why do you say no?
The most advanced form of technology I saw from the clips I watched were the pods. And to me, we have that technology today, so that's really not high tech.
Yeah, but you gotta remember when this movie was made.
This was made in 1987. They didn't really have those.
That was 35 years ago. Before the internet. Back when I was just a pup. Shakes cane.
Alright, so I'm saying yes, Grim's saying no. I need an outside verdict.
I didn't hear the question.
Me neither.
High-tech society?
Sort of.
Not particularly, though.
I mean, there were some things they were advanced in, mostly weaponry.
It's just like that other. It's just like that other movie, that the one starring Justin Timberlake with the.
And it was implied that they basically had cameras everywhere watching everybody.
Well, that was Big Brother is watching you, but yeah.
Yeah, it's not really.
But at the same point,
I will make
they would have had to have the technology to been able to watch you.
Right.
It's still not really high tech.
I'm just gonna mark it down as no.
Security cameras.
Yeah.
Postmodern deconstruction?
No.
No.
Alright.
Let's be honest, this movie really wasn't cyberpunk.
Oh, hold on, we're getting there. Transhumanism?
No, not really, no.
Neo-noir or tech-noir?
No.
No.
Drugs or alcohol?
Jeez.
I'm sure there was.
Well, Killian seemed like he was drunk, but...
Yeah.
I'm sure there was
just his personality.
A few drugs at some point in the movie.
Does it feel cyberpunk?
No.
Grim
Not
says
really.
no. Greg says no. Barry, I know you didn't see this movie.
From what I've heard,
does it feel
doesn't
cyberpunk
really
from
sound
what you
like
did?
it.
All right. And Sammy?
Yeah, not overly impressed.
Not overly impressed, so no, not cyberpunk. And my verdict as well is no, not cyberpunk.
It was an okay science fiction movie, and that's the best I can say. I saw it at the theater at the time, and the best I can say was it was an okay science fiction movie.
That's how I felt about it. From what I've seen of it, I feel like it would be a decent watch for the first time. Maybe somewhat enjoyable for science fiction, but it doesn't meet cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Something you could see one time and go, okay. May not really want to watch it over and over again, but you could see it that one time.
Yeah. Since the Justin Timberlake movie was mentioned, it was a stretch to say high tech for that because of the numerical display that was tattooed on them. But that was all
the
they
reason
had.
I brought that up, is that there was a little bit of extra technology in the cars, a little, and then they had the watches and how to transfer time. But that's really high-tech stuff, and yet nothing else was high-tech.
Right. And so the reason I don't consider the Running Man cyberpunk, it doesn't have the cyber, either cyberware, implants, or cyberspace. If those were actually proven to be implants in the, or cybernetic limbs or something in those stalkers, I would have no problem calling this cyberpunk. Or at least less of a problem calling it cyberpunk. But it's not. You don't have the cyber, so therefore you can't have the cyberpunk.
If you just have punk, that's still not cyberpunk, it's just punk. Speaking of, did even feel punk?
No.
Yeah.
It was a very average 1980s science fiction film.
Mm.
A couple other fun facts that I neglected to include in my initial 8, but I know I kind of figured we'd have time, so I'm including them now. So there were 2 musicians in this movie. Obviously, one was with Mick Fleetwood.
Mm-hmm.
The other was Frank Zappa's kid, Dweezil.
Oh.
He played Steve.
You played the what?
Stevie.
Stevie, okay.
And I'm not sure if you realize the reference with Stevie and Mick. I'm sure one person here does.
I do.
Stevie Nicks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whether that was deliberate or not, no one's...
knowing Mick, it probably was deliberate, because at the time they had been banging off and on, let's just say.
They had been involved in a certain kind of relationship. And then this was Richard Dawson's last movie.
Oh.
It was also Erland Van Leeth. It was his last movie as well, but he's not as big of a name. He played Dynamo. He played Dynamo.
Oh, okay.
He had died of heart failure.
Unfortunately, it was not Jesse Ventura's.
Yeah.
He died of heart failure a few months after this movie came out.
Well, when you're kind of out of shape, you might do that.
Yeah.
There was a cheesy one-liner in the movie during after Fireball's death scene.
And then, of course, there was a fullback in this movie.
Yeah, that would be Fireball.
Yep. And I just want to know. Damn it! I was going to ask if Greg could name the person.
The fullback?
Yeah.
Boy, you want to press my memory. I haven't watched this movie in like 25 years.
Grim already said it. It was Jim Brown.
Oh, I didn't even hear it.
I didn't hear it.
Jim Brown.
I'm not really a sports fan, so I wouldn't have known.
Sorry, who was it?
Even after hearing, I don't know the name.
It was Jim Brown. He played for...
Jim Brown.
Cleveland Browns.
He wasn't really a fullback. He was mostly a running back. A very famous running back. I forgot he was in this movie. He was in a lot of movies in the early 70s, most of them westerns.
Yeah, he played Fireball.
All right.
Which has a really shitty one-liner after his death scene. Yeah, Arnold, after Fireball gets killed, he goes, "Wow, what a hothead."
Yeah, what a bad joke.
Yeah.
But then that was most of Arnold's movies in the 80s. Really bad jokes.
And the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It got worse
how
in the
many
90s.
one-liners did he use when he was Mr. Freeze? Seriously.
Oh, Lord. What a terrible movie that was. Sadly, probably his best movie is going to be Predator.
Or Terminator.
Yeah. But see, he really wasn't the star of Terminator.
Yeah.
Even though he became the star of it,
he
really wasn't.
Man.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're saying not Cyberpunk for this. If you guys think differently, well, leave your comment in the comments below, or if you're watching this live, leave it in that little chat window. If you're watching this live and you leave it in that chat window, it will get seen.
On YouTube.
Yes. You can have yourself immortalized in this movie.
Yay.
Well, not this specific movie, but the podcast on the movie.
Mm. Hooray, your comment can be seen by single digits of people that actually watch this down the line over the years.
Ouch. Pulling no punches, eh, Bear?
I mean, you
Hey,
look at
everybody has to start somewhere.
You look at the list of views for each episode, and it's all single digits, with like rare exception.
Yeah. So before I get into what we're covering next week, I think that kind of wraps up our chat on this topic. So, Barry, where can we find you?
I need to get my information card. Here we go. If you want more of me, as you can see the name on the screen, KHZHAK. You can find me on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. My schedule is on Twitch. If you search Google for that with your safe search turned off, that's your problem, because I'm also on all these different websites. If you recognize any of those, there you go, part of the reason. If you don't, maybe don't look them up, because maybe their content is not to your taste. I don't know. But there's streams we do at 6 or 7 every night, 7 o'clock on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday for WoW or Guild Wars 2 or Conan or something else. Actually, after this, right after we're done with this, I'm doing a Conan stream at 7 o'clock here. And then this podcast is going to be live on YouTube at noon tomorrow on Saturday. And that's usually when the episodes are live on YouTube. And then at Wednesday at 6 Central, there's Phasmophobia or Ghost Exorcist or whatever other spooky, scary ghost game we can figure out to play. I've been thinking about mentioning another one to some of my friends, but I forget the... Oh, wait. Devour. Yeah, I've been meaning to mention that to them. That one looks fun, too. Either way, there's lots of games that are streamed. If you want to watch us go fight things that are way too powerful and see us get killed, that's a good way to do it. It's good content. But I think that's enough rambling for me. Who's next?
Well, sadly, Randy couldn't make it tonight. Still feeling under the weather, I believe. So you can go check him out on most of those streams that Barry announced.
Mm-hmm.
He's also doing a podcast Tuesday nights at 10-ish p.m. Central Time. Central Daylight Time, which is an Unearthly podcast. It's all things Doctor Who. So if you like Doctor Who, go check that out.
Mm-hmm.
That
includes Torchwood.
Yep. As for this podcast, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch by searching Gen Cyberpunk Pod. And our YouTube channel is Generation Cyberpunk. You can find that by searching Generation Cyberpunk Podcast. If you want to hear more from our group, check out the Thanks for Nothing podcast on the FML Productions YouTube channel. We do various D&D campaigns on that channel and are in the process of making an anime. If you want to donate, we have a coffee link in the description of the Thanks for Nothing podcast or on screen right there. Donations are welcome, but by no means necessary. If you want to buy merch, go check out our Redbubble page. Next week, we are covering Free Guy, probably the newest movie we've covered so far.
Ooh.
And until then,
before we hop off, sorry, I just want to say at the time of filming this, we have recently heard of the passing of David Warner and Bernard Cribbins. Bernard Cribbins is from Doctor Who, Diana Noble's grandfather, and then David Warner needs no explanation as he's played a lot of villains throughout his career.
probably the most notable for this podcast in particular, Graham,
Was
would be
the villain in Tron.
yeah. Well, not really the villain in Tron, since that was the AI. But he played Edward Dillinger in Tron. So, yeah, unfortunately, he passed away.
Oh.
But anyway, next week we're covering Free Guy, starring Ryan Reynolds. Until then, we will see you later, Cyberpunks.